Hey everyone, it's me, Asifa Lahore. I'm back with Sergio.
Hi! Hello, Asifa.
For those of you watching on YouTube, remember, subscribe to the channel and click on the bell notification
Somewhere,
so that you can receive more videos. So what did you think of the Queen's looks for the reunited episode?
Okay, I liked Scarlett.
Oh yes, I love the green hair on her.
It was beautiful.
Stunning.
A lot of the Queens were doing matchy-matchy. So the hair or the outfit was also matching the eyeshadow.
Yes.
Which is cute. I liked Silky. She was pretty cute as, you know, like in America they've got like these bands, like these marching bands.
Yes.
She was one of those,
She looked like a trooper. Yeah.
She was really cute. I loved Evie.
Yes.
I love the whole, you know, coming out of the bath, face mask thing.
Yes.
She had like, you know, ducks in her turban on her hair.
Yes.
That was beautiful. Plastique, standard. She's always
standard, just a pretty.
But again, it looked really beautiful. So because it's her, it's expected.
Yes.
The maybes for me were. Well, before I go into my maybes, who are your tops?
My tops, I think Scarlett, you mentioned. I quite liked Tiara, oddly enough. That whole showgirl, the whole
the feathers
feathers were stunning. Didn't really care about her face, but the look I quite liked.
Her aesthetic is always on point.
Always on point. I liked, surprisingly, Mercedes.
Well, she knows how to paint.
She knows how to paint a face.
She knows how to break that face. But also another queen who I didn't even mention, Sugar. She paints beautifully. And I love the little heart on the tip of her nose.
Yes, cute.
The outfit I don't really...
Yeah, she doesn't blow me away sort of like styling-wise, but yeah, she does a good face.
Yeah. The ones I disliked were Brooklyn. I really didn't get it.
Didn't get Brooklyn at all.
And the whole, you know, B on her headpiece, and then the H on her ears and earrings.
Yeah, I didn't get it.
It was very convoluted.
Yes.
I didn't like it.
Yeah.
I'm sad to say I didn't like Vangie.
No, I didn't like Vangie either. It was very cheap, dare I say.
No, it didn't really do it for me.
It was very like Latina housewife.
Yeah,
very pedestrian.
The only thing I enjoyed was her hair.
Yes.
That looks really good. And I need to comment on Vangie's hair underneath the headpiece.
Yeah.
Like she had this whole Elizabethan sort of headpiece.
Yes.
And then like the baby hairs, it was beautiful.
Yes.
Like we know she does hair, but that was stunning.
Yeah, that was stunning.
Who was your
Talking
top
of hair, I thought, my top look. My top look would have been Scarlett.
Yeah.
Scarlett killed it. Talking about bad hair, I thought Ariel's hair was really bad for someone who's got like
a business. Yeah, I was just like, girl, that was a choice. It was, you know, like it just didn't look well managed. It didn't look finished.
No.
It looked a bit rushed.
You know, and for someone who prides themselves on like social media,
and who has
Instagram queen.
Listen, whatever way, maybe she left those wigs by mistake, whatever. She will be forever remembered as the queen with the hair issue, the hair saga.
Yes.
And to then show up looking like that
was budget. Well, seeing as we've mentioned it, shall we actually talk about the wig saga?
Well, I don't really know what was going on. It was like, so if we break down fact, she supposedly leaves this hair by mistake when she's packing.
However, when the show is broadcast, she says on Twitter that she left it for plastique.
Now, but if we go back, they actually filmed, you know, the makeover episode, which was obviously ages before. And on that episode, on camera, she specifically says, I did not leave it for plastic.
Yes, exactly. And then, in this reunited episode, she clarifies again that actually, no, she didn't leave it for plastic, but she left one for Silky.
Yeah. And then,
yes.
And then get this, and then she was like, I said that on Twitter to support my sister who was going through a lot of like backlash.
Yes.
Okay. And then, right at the end, she then says that she left a wig for Akira.
Yes.
And we were just like, what?
It's just so confusing. It's just like, go make your mind up, you know what I mean?
What are you saying? What are the facts?
Forget facts for now. What I'd say is, do you think she's playing a game? Because somewhere along the line she's obviously lying.
Well, she's not playing a very good game if it's all crumbling upon her.
No, but is she playing a game so that she gets to be known as the wig queen in order to sell her wigs?
That is strategic.
Very strategic.
Listen, those wigs aren't that cute. I wouldn't buy them.
No, but let's be honest. Fans follow you. They'll turn up to a drag con booth. They'll buy that.
You think?
Yes.
Yeah, my titties looking very ample.
They are. So okay, let's move on. We're done with the wigs. What did you think?
It was a non-entity issue. It did nothing for me. I didn't see the point. And I was just like, girl, just let it go.
Amen.
The shadiest thing was when that wig flew from Raja's hand and landed next to her. I'm like,
do you know what I mean?
Shady.
That was shady, but do you know what was kind of cheap? She picked it up. She should have just left it.
Left it. And straight up, when Raja said that wig might have ended up in my suitcase.
That was funny.
Walk there.
Do you know what I mean? That was funny. Even Rupaul was like gagging. That was funny. Okay, what did you think about the highlight on Silky and Evie?
Okay.
And their rivalry.
Straight up, they were the two characters of the season.
Yes.
They were like each other's, yin and yang.
Yin and yang, yes.
They
pressed each other's buttons.
They did. They balanced each other, but at the same time, they confronted each other.
Yes.
And without them, this season would be dull.
Exactly.
Dull as dishwater.
Exactly.
And from, maybe it was, I don't know, but it came across, I think, it kind of resolved their issues.
Yes.
It was for camera. There was a sense of like, they were at peace with each other.
Yes.
And I think it was a really powerful moment when Evie and Silky kind of essentially agreed that whereas Silky hides behind her personality, Evie hides behind her attacks.
Yes,
Her retorts.
Of course.
And it was powerful that they acknowledged that about each other.
Yeah, I'm glad there was a resolution. What I loved was, the montage you see of them fighting together, all the clips of the episodes where they're fighting together. It just made me realise how great they were for the show.
They were so
good to watch.
They were so good. They're going about, finding the right mix of queens for the right season. Those two were perfect together.
Amen.
Because they really just worked off each other.
Amen.
Speaking of working off each other, what did you think of the whole romance between Brooklyn and
Vangie? Well, you call it a romance, I call it a showmance.
Okay. Elaborate.
I don't think it was real. At least from Brooklyn's part. I think Brooklyn had
But this is the conversation we've been having where there is real strategy.
Listen to me, yes. I mean, Brooklyn and Brooklyn's strategy is for later on in the video, but right now we're talking about the showmance. I think Brooklyn had more to gain from a romance with Vangie than Vangie had to gain in a romance with Brooklyn.
Oh, I think totally. But ultimately it is linked. Do you think that Brooklyn was being strategic in continuing this? And actually, she made it very clear that Vangie started it. That Vangie might have, been overt about her affections to begin with. Right.
I personally think that Brooklyn is very strategic. From the word go, was super strategic in challenges, in, group selections. And I would not be surprised if this was a strategic move on Brooklyn's part.
I would be
Brooklyn
surprised.
had more to gain.
Yeah.
And also, it would guarantee more screen time. And also, the other thing is, certain things that Brooklyn mentioned in the program in this particular episode were, about clocking Evie as one to watch early on in the competition. And always having a thing to say about whoever.
Yeah.
I kind of get the feeling that Brooklyn was playing a game.
The cynic in me can see what you're saying, but there is a part of me that thought for Vangie's sake that it was actually real.
I think Vangie really liked
Vangie, and what it felt like Brooklyn digging in a knife.
Yeah.
When RuPaul asked, would you ever get back together? And
silence.
The silence initially, and then Brooklyn said, I have feelings for her. I know she has feelings for me. Honey! She had all those cards in that relationship.
Yeah.
Who are we to like sit here stirring the fucking pot?
Amen.
But that was... I fell for Vangie.
I fell for Vangie
You know,
too.
she was living, her telenovela fantasy. You know, in her head, she was going to end up with this guy who she'd met on the show. They were going to, move to Florida, live their life.
Honey, she got used. What did you think of Mercedes?
Applause! You earned everything!
Loved her. I have to say that it was just lovely. I know I had my criticisms of her during the episodes that she was there about, I just wanted a bit more. I just wanted to hear more about her reconciliation with her religion and stuff like that. But actually seeing her come back and hearing how the show's impacted her, especially, parts of her family in Kenya not being able to accept her, but her sisters in the US being able to accept her, that really touched me.
And I think there's real power in her story.
I agree.
And her trajectory on the show was, if you look back on it, she is a minority,
Yes.
but wanted to highlight herself and her experience.
Yes, very much
And I think that's powerful.
Very much so.
And it kind of makes sense in a way. You've lived that life where you do fear that because of your intersectionality that you will be picked upon.
Yeah, of course.
And I kind of saw her hesitation initially. I know that earlier in this podcast, in these videos, we spoke about, how we were let down by her. But I think at the root of it, there was someone who really wanted to share her story and share this message of Islam as a religion, as a peaceful religion, but ultimately of a religion of contrast.
Yes.
And I thought it was really powerful, I know from the show that she's from Minneapolis, which is the largest concentration of Muslims in the US. And for her to be out as a Muslim drag queen in such a city, with the support of her sisters, that's powerful.
That is powerful.
She hasn't, minced off, she hasn't run off. She is living her truth, and there's such authenticity to that.
Totally. And honey, if you're watching this, Mercedes, I just want to say, Assalamu alaikum, I love you. Thank you for representing LGBT Muslims out there in the mainstream. Love you.
Something that came up for us that we were discussing when the show came on was just as Mercedes was, sharing her story, Brooklyn felt the need to interject and mention, or give her 2 cents.
Yes.
And there was just something that really just struck me, was just the sense of imperialism.
Okay.
This sense of, we know the journey that
Mercedes
has been on. We know her story. But yet, Brooklyn felt the need to justify, or to essentially to give her validation of Mercedes, saying that you're a good person. Which at the root of it is such subconscious racism. Is she aware of this? Perhaps not. And then it also plays into Brooklyn's strategic gameplay.
Yes.
And I don't think that she's even aware of it. I think it might be subconscious. We are fully aware that she is strategic. There has been a strategic game player. And of all of the queens in this season, she's probably the most strategic. But that really struck me as such, subliminal racism. It's the sense of, it's alright because I validate you. I am choosing this moment to say, you know what, it's okay. And, it probably came from a place of, I want to support you.
Yeah.
But it doesn't read like that.
Sure.
And, having experienced, my own struggles as an immigrant, as, an ethnic minority, it just really it really resonated with me. And I know that we've shared this story many a time.
Yeah.
And there was just, such subvert imperialism to it. What did you think about it?
Do you know what? It's, as an ethnic minority and as a visible ethnic minority, it's something that you know, especially in Western media, it's just something that I'm so used to that I've got to a point now where it kind of passes me over. It's only when we were watching it, when you pointed it out, and I had to rewatch it and go, oh yeah, of course. That's how, you know, I hate to use that word. I've become blind to it, immune to it, exactly.
But that isn't right.
No, it isn't.
And it's like, you know, like even if Brooklyn was coming from a place of love, there are times when even if you have a chance to say something, give that position, give that moment, and allow someone to actually speak for themselves.
And own it.
And
exactly.
own it.
Exactly. I mean, LGBT Muslims very rarely get a platform in the mainstream to voice who they are and their opinions. And yeah, I see what you're saying. That they should be allowed that platform and that time.
Exactly.
Amen. Amen. Oh God, I'm getting emotional. And that isn't just the hormones. Okay, what else about this episode did you like?
What else did I like? I'll be honest, one of my favourite queens this season was Soju.
Yes.
I know she was only in it for like 5 seconds.
Yes.
But there's just such charm. I never really got into her YouTube channels, Shot of Soju.
No, neither did I.
But whenever she's on camera, there's real magnetism. You know, she's funny, she's witty, she's clever, and it always lands.
Yes.
You know, and I know that we will remember her as Forever Sis.
Yes, of course.
You know, it was clever.
I would love to see her for All Stars for a future season.
If we talk about All Stars, who do you think is actually on the next season?
I think from this, if we're talking about All Stars from this season 11, I'd say Scarlett, I'd say Soju, and I'd say Plastique.
I'd agree. Part of me thinks they'd probably throw in someone like Nina or Raja.
Maybe. Raja's villain again would be great. Would be great.
Because she is great television. And speaking of Raja, there was that whole focus on Raja's meltdowns.
Yes.
What did you think of that?
It's interesting because I didn't realise that she was using those meltdowns and those really, you know, she described it as secondary school kind of tactics to mask her vulnerability. I didn't get that.
I got it at one point.
Did you?
Like, you know, in the episode where she has a go at Plastique for having all this support, there was a sense of, what about me? What about Susan? Not that she is a Susan, but there was a sense of, you're getting all this support, all this praise, I'm getting nothing. And you saw that in the way that Plastique reacted, because it went from, Plastique had a reason to hark back at her. But she chose not to. Because and she mentioned that today, that she saw the hurt in her eyes. And you know, I got the pain. Did she channel it in the right way? Perhaps not. And I think, you know, she mentioned it. She was afraid to be vulnerable. She was scared of showing vulnerability. And I think we all are in so many ways.
We are, and you know, I guess it comes out for different people in different ways, and I just really hope that she grows from it and sees it.
I'm glad she had this moment to share her piece. Because the way that the film was editing her, there was this whole
villain narrative.
Yes, the whole, you know, angry black woman. Which, you know, it's a stereotype that exists over and over and over. And I'm glad that she had the chance to go, you know what? That wasn't that.
Exactly.
And I loved her authenticity.
One last thing I want to discuss is, what did you think about Plastique Tiara?
She looks stunning. Her whole story about the wig situation just kind of unraveled.
Yes. More importantly, what did you think about her, all the queens going in on her about pop culture?
We've discussed this many times in our life. You know, we've been, you know, we're British. We live here. We have, you know, extensive array of British knowledge.
Yes.
But there are pockets of time when we haven't lived here.
Yes.
And our knowledge is limited.
Yes.
I kind of get where she's coming from.
Okay.
I get. We've discussed this. I get that maybe her knowledge was limited.
Mm-hmm.
I think on stage she misconstrued herself. I don't think she was honest. Had she said, my knowledge is limited, rather than I know nothing, that would have been closest to the truth. Because the truth is, she only moved here at 11, or moved to the US at 11. That is true. Her knowledge would be limited.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
And I think that's what she should have, gone with.
I think so. I mean, I think there was a bit of fibbing going on Plastic's behalf, because let's be honest, she filmed that show when she was 21. So 10 years ago, the show was actually filmed last year in 2018. So in 2008, when she was 11, that's when she came to the US. Now, during those years, surely she would have gone to school. Surely she would have heard about, 2009, for example, Mariah Carey had one of her biggest hits in the US. Touch My Body was #1. Sasha Fierce, the album by Beyonce, came out in 2008. There's a massive sort of avenue there for learning. Now, she said that on the show, she said, I only legitimately learned about Beyonce 4 years ago. So she would have been, she would have been about, if she was 21, she would have been about 17 when she learned about
And let's also take
Beyonce. Which, I can see.
I just think it's really dangerous as immigrants ourselves, or an immigrant background, to hound on an immigrant themselves. We don't know her story. We don't know where she's come from, and we share similar sentiments. I don't want to turn around and go, I don't believe you, I don't trust you, I don't understand you. Because ultimately it's her rhetoric, it's her story. Do I think it's a bit unbelievable? Yes.
That's my point. I think she was fibbing.
But
the point is
shutting her down.
Well, it's not about shutting her down, it's about saying, look, just be a little bit more truthful about your experience. Yes, she's touched upon a really good point that ethnic minorities don't have the same pop culture as, people in the West. I mean, most of you watching probably have no idea who Lata Mangeshkar or Aishwarya Rai is to me, for example.
Or Deepika Padukone.
Oh,
I could, churn out some Portuguese pop stars. Rita Guerra, probably some people don't know who she is.
Yeah. So I totally understand that, but I do believe there was a sense of fibbery from Plastic, and maybe with the wigs as well, and I don't know, there is something quite what's the word?
I don't know if I get fibbing, perhaps exaggeration.
Maybe, but I don't know. I think there was a bit of fibbing, personally. I think there's a difference between fibbing and exaggeration. But that's what I'll say about that.
But something that the show has brought up, and this is what I love about RuPaul's Drag Race. Like last season, we had the whole racism conversation with, the Black Queens, and I hate to use that term, but they kind of refer to themselves as the Black Queens, and they're really adept at having those conversations. The Vixens, the Moniques, the Asias, the Monets, and this time around, we've had these conversations about immigrants, which I think is something that needs to be had. And I go back to that episode when Mercedes said, being an immigrant in America is hard. And she spoke of, her collapse, her breakdown, her heart condition. And I'm glad that RuPaul's Drag Race allows for these conversations to happen.
Yeah. I mean, that's why we're fans of the show. I've always felt that RuPaul's Drag Race has really pushed boundaries in all, not just with the LGBT issue, but just with all other issues around race, around immigration, around culture, around history.
And it goes back to something that you strive for with your activism. It's the whole issue of intersectionality.
Yeah.
We are more than just the L, the G, the B, or the T.
Oh, amen. People shouldn't be just painted by one brush. We have so many different, parts and different brushes in our palette. I mean, come on. There's a whole rainbow out there.
We love the rainbow.
Don't stick to one colour, honey.
You're
missing out in life.
And I'm glad that the show allows that to happen. It allows a platform for these voices, for these stories. Because, we talk about, I think, after 11 seasons, I think 11 seasons and however many seasons of All Stars, we've kind of become immune to the power of the show.
Yes.
There are many people that are very quick to throw shade at it. It's too produced. It's too it's too limiting. But I remember a time when we had nothing. We grew up during Section 28. We went to a school where we couldn't be ourselves. We experienced a lot of abuse, and we didn't have any LGBT representation in the media.
Amen.
And we were starved for so long to have this. I think we should be so privileged.
Yeah.
Because what I love about it, it's the company behind it is a gay production company.
Amen.
And it's powerful that we have this platform.
And kudos to all the activists around the world that in a way have caused something like Drag Race to be accepted and out there in the mainstream right now. Brilliant. So, who's gonna win?
Oh, okay. Who I'd like to win? I like Evie to win.
Yes.
I think she has been the narrator of this season. She has, been the instigator in so many aspects. She has brought looks. She has held her own in challenges, and she has done it on her own terms. The whole, someone who marches to the beat of her own drum. Honey, she is. Drop me away.
Amen.
And I love her for it. And
who do you think is going to win?
Brooklyn.
Okay. Do you know what? I would like Evie or Silky to win. They have been my favourites throughout the season. I think Brooklyn's going to win.
Yeah.
I hope I'm wrong.
We have the lip syncs to look forward to. Next week's episode, so it'll be interesting to see.
Oh, who do you think is going to win Miss Congeniality?
It's down to either Nina or Mercedes for me.
Oh, do you know what? Now you mention Mercedes, yes.
Listen, here she is on a platform of religious tolerance.
Yeah.
She was nice.
Yeah.
All the other queens seem to be really supportive of her.
Yeah.
But, and then you have Nina who, has championed the LGBT cause, who was so incredibly charming.
Do you know, I would have said that maybe Nina West was the front runner, but now that you've mentioned Mercedes, I agree with you. I think those two. Let's see what happens next week then. So, in the meantime, guys, take care of each other, take care of yourselves, and let's see each other next week for the grand finale. But for now, bye!